Hello everyone, I'm Michaela Kathleen. This is the beginning of my second week of being at home. So I thought I would do a video recommending some long book series you can read if you are also stuck at home, and definitely well wishes to anyone who is, or even more importantly, anyone who's dealing with something harder than just being stuck at home. So the first series on my list is Peter and the Starcatchers by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. This series is a prequel for the Peter Pan story, and it sort of just answers all the questions that you might have about Peter Pan, like how can he fly, or any other questions. In the dedication, it actually says, "And above all else, we thank Paige Pearson for asking her daddy one night after her bedtime story exactly how a flying boy met a certain pirate." So I've always really loved that dedication, and I feel like it perfectly sums up the series. So if you love Peter Pan, this is definitely a series I recommend. There are 5 books in the series: Peter Pan and the Starcatchers, Peter Pan and the Shadow Thieves, Peter and the Secret of Rundoon, Peter and the Sword of Mercy, and The Bridge to Neverland. And all of these books run between 400 and 500 pages, so they'll keep you busy for a while. The next series on my list is Eragon by Christopher Paolini. I am actually planning a reread of this series soon because just last year he came out with The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, which is a collection of short stories. And I have not read it yet. I want to reread the series before reading this because though I remember the first 2 books quite well, the 3rd and the 4th book are quite hazy in my memory, so I think a reread would definitely benefit me. And now I have the perfect opportunity to get started. This series is about a teenage farm boy who discovers a dragon egg in the forest outside his house, and he becomes the dragon's rider. And he has to defeat the evil king of this land. There are 4 books in the original series: Eragon, Eldest, Brizinger, and Inheritance. And then of course there is the companion selection of short stories that I've already talked about, The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm. These books run between 400 and 800 pages, so definitely some hefty books in there to keep you busy. The next series on my list is Warriors by Aaron Hunter. There are actually multiple Warrior series. I have the first 2. The original one is Warriors, and then there is Warriors: The New Prophecy, and each series, Warriors and The New Prophecy, has 6 books in the series, and I'm honestly not even sure how many Warrior series there are nowadays. I read the first 3, but the 3rd one started to be quite repetitive and a little bit boring for me, so I kind of gave up on it. I think I read part of the 4th series, but I didn't ever buy it, and eventually I got rid of the 3rd series and I just stuck with the first 2. But yeah, definitely if you want to read them all, there are many now, and there are lots of companion books as well. But this series is about a group of cats living in the forest and kind of their politics, and they all kind of are at odds with each other, fighting over territory and things like that. It is a middle grade series. I loved this series a lot as a kid. I've just realized I'm not holding the first book. Here's the first one. I love this series a lot as a kid. It's definitely a real adventure series, lots of drama. All of the individual books are quite short, but as I said, there are so many of them to go through. The next series on my list is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. There are, of course, only 3 books in this series, and they're all fairly small, but there is a prequel coming out in a few months, so I think now is the perfect time to binge right through all 3 of these books. Whether you have not read them before and you just want to dive right in and be prepared for the prequel, or you need a refresher on them. This is a dystopian series about a society that has these games every year in which 2 teenagers from each district in the country are put into an arena and they're all forced to fight to the death. So a very dramatic series, but also with a lot of important social commentary. And as I said, there are 3 books in the series. There's The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay, with a prequel coming out in a few months. The longest book in the series is 400 pages, so again, you can probably get through these pretty quick, but then you'll be all prepped up for the prequel. The final series on my list is the Charlie Bone series by Jenny Nimmo. These books are a little bit like Harry Potter. They're much more middle grade. They don't go as dark later in the series. They stay very much middle grade, but they're about a boy who discovers he has magical powers and goes to a school for those powers, but the magic system in this is quite different. Everybody who has magical powers has like one specific ability, and everybody's ability is unique to themselves. Our main character, Charlie, can hear voices in photographs. He can hear what the people were saying at the time that they were photographed. But there's also a lot of great mystery, just like in Harry Potter. And this is definitely a nice, fun, light, middle grade series, nothing too heavy or dark. There are 8 books in the series: Midnight for Charlie Bone, Charlie Bone and the Time Twister, Charlie Bone and the Invisible Boy, Charlie Bone and the Castle of Mirrors, Charlie Bone and the Hidden King, Charlie Bone and the Beast, Charlie Bone and the Shadow, and Charlie Bone and the Red Knight. And all of these books run between 300 to 500 pages. So yeah, these are just some series, if you're bored at home right now, that can kind of take your mind off things and will keep you busy for quite some time. Let me know down below what you're reading right now. Thanks for watching. Remember, words matter.